Comics are generally a collection of cartoons grouped in descriptive succession. There are countless themes a comic can have, but there is usually one solid theme per comic. Usually, they encompass dialogue enclosed in text bubbles that are divided by gutters and borders. This is just the standard for comics, as there is a multitude of unorthodox style comics. When comics first and unintentionally appeared in Rudolph Dirk's Katzenjammer Kids cartoon in 1897, characters were assigned dialogue within text bubbles in order to show what they were saying within the scene. Over time, dialogue enclosed with bubbles has become one of the most defining features in a comic. In many art forms, whether it be a movie, play, book, painting, or the like, when characters confabulate, their tone and emotion influences the setting. This is also true within comics, particularly in Karl's Wish You Were Here. Not only do the actual words have significance, but the shape of text bubbles convey meaning and emotion associated with the speaker. Due to the unfortunate circumstance the characters were in, the author carefully employs words and differentiated bubbles to reflect their physical and emotional states. This comic series by Simon Spurrier, Javier Barreno, and Fernando Malik entails the aftermath of several people infected by a pandemic who are stranded on an island. Some are savagely behaving while murdering people and doing other inhumane, unjustified things. But there are some characters who still possess their sanity. In the beginning scene, Shaky makes several statements to himself. Most statements are straightforward within rectangular shapes. This shape indicates that the inner voice of the character is speaking and typically means that a normal thought occurred, being presented with neutral emotion and tone. However, in the third sequential scene, the shape of the bubble is circular with the tail. Instead of presenting this as a statement, the non-uniform circular shape suggests that the character is in distress. This is also evidenced by the look on his face, ripped clothing, and positionality of the man in well. In this scene where Shaggy questions his life and the significance of creating a diary, we are introduced to a new style of text bold and different consideration for the statement is made. In the middle panel, he states that he doesn't want to write a diary simply because he has spare time, because he doesn't have spare time, as there is always booger occurring. At this moment, there is ambiguity. Since booger could mean annoyance, the penetration of a man's anus, or a term of abuse according to Google.com. In this scene, as a fellow man who is also stranded on the Kappa or Scottish island pushes the boat, he exclaims, "Ah!" Then, ah. These connected text bubbles denote that though they are separate statements, they are a part of the same thought process. So, readers are presented one expression and the conjoint bubble continues that expression with a slightly different context. Or here in this scene, where these conjoint bubbles are used when the stranded islanders yell, "Vincent, Vincent." The average person may ask, why aren't the speech bubbles simply separated? This is because the author's Superior et al. Attempts to avoid having statements dispersed over the entire scene. And if one actually reads the statement out loud, he or she would realize that the tone and voice of the people is a realistic one, almost as a sign of relief. In several scenes, such as the ones here, the speakers do not make full statements. They either say one word or speak with sentence fragments in short, choppy pieces. This was done in order to show that even though they had many abstract thoughts, as evidenced by the rectangular boxes, they instead put limitations on how much they express themselves. These very brief and ephemeral statements are mostly in a circular shaped dialogue frame. There is also a dichotomy between the interchangeable use of rectangle boxes that merely express thoughts and circular shapes that express actual language. In select scenes, however, the focus should not be on the way and shape in which the text is delivered, but the overall meaning and significance of it. For instance, this deranged, bloody-faced character at the bottom left actually makes a logical statement for the first time. In previous segments, his words were limited to profanity and spontaneous outbursts, but here he declares that he will make it back to the mainland before Shaky does. As Shaky prepares to shoot a fellow crossed or infected individual, his female companion urges him and demands that he does so immediately. She is one of the few who is not in a fully insane state like the others, and her presence proves to be of some gravity. This interaction is also the beginning of a well thought out conversation among characters. It is not until the 30th or so panel that the characters have civilized discussion. This is why viewers see more and more circular dialogue shapes, not only from one person, but multiple people within one setting. This increased use designates a form of civilization and rationale among certain characters. As readers progress through Wish You Were Here, additional text bubble styles are used. As one of the few sane leaders views a scuffle across the water that happens between homicidal criminals and terrified women, he responds to the conflict saying, "A" and "ah." "Ah" is enclosed in a circular bubble that is connected to a star. This shows that this statement was made behind scenes or away from the main scene. In this horrific scene, where someone is captured, humiliated, and assaulted, the thoughts of the perpetrators undermine the seriousness of the situation. For one, there are no exclamation points to indicate excitement. Neither is there a special bubble shape to show certain emotions. Instead, the text signifies their nonchalant and mocking attitudes. All in all, Spirio, Barrino, and Malik carefully used the shape of dialogue boxes and content enclosed to allow viewers to articulate what is occurring in the story. Not only does this text allow characters to communicate, but also viewers to put themselves in the scenes. And the unique shape of text boxes also contribute to this art. Little attention was given to the shape of text bubbles when they first appeared in Dirk's Katzenjammer Kids. Nonetheless, this is not the case in Cross, Wish You Were Here, and many other comics. It is important that readers consider the shape of text bubbles and the actual dialogue of the characters, as this element has major influence within scenes. This comics is the epitome of dialogue and how it has advanced throughout comic history. Comics are generally